Now there is one last category that is remaining, and it is really not that interesting to talk about it, but just to complete the topic, we are going to talk about that topic as well, and that is the topic of vermins, land vermins. So there are many creatures that fall into this category, but we need to know really how does it relate to eating and how does it relate to just interacting with them in general. And it's just not restricted to insects. Vermins are basically any disgusting animal that is usually of small in size, and they appear commonly and they are difficult to control. It can be anything like rats, mice, and squirrel or anything. So we're going to talk about it, all of those, inshallah. So the ruling is that, generally speaking, we are going to get into more detail, but these are it is majority of them, they said that it is makruh, and some of them said it is haram, and they quoted the evidence the verse from Surah Al-A'raf, verse number 157, wherein Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim, وَيُحِلُّ لَهُمُ الطَّيِّبَاتِ وَيُحَرِّمُ عَلَيْهِمُ الْخَبَائِثِ. Talking about Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying He allows them al-tayyibat, and He prohibits them from al-khaba'ith. Basically it means He allows them things that are very pure, which are good, which are lawful to eat, and He prohibits them from things which are evil, something which is disgusting, something which is not befitting. Okay, so these animals here, land vermins and disgusting animals, they fall under that category of khaba'ith. Okay, so that is, as many scholars said, you cannot eat these, and it includes many of them, flies, lice, bedbugs, cockroaches, or whatever you can. Also includes scorpions and everything. Now we can categorize these as well. Okay, and I'm going to tell you like why certain thing is haram. For example, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, sometimes he said that kill this particular animal. Like if there are 5 animals, if you find them in near the Masjid al-Haram area, you are supposed to kill them. That's the order from Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And he said there are 5 animals, all of which are evil and should be killed in the Haram, and which is the sanctuary of Makkah, basically that area. And he said crows, kites, scorpions, rats, and vicious dogs. So that's why we don't see these creatures near Kaaba, near Makkah, and this is narrated in Sahih al-Bukhari. Okay, so the basic rule that you should remember is that any animal that Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam commanded to be killed, you cannot eat them for obvious reasons. Okay, so there is something wrong, there's something evil in them when they are found in Masjid al-Haram, and some scholars said that there's devil associated with it near Haram area, but in general these animals, wherever you are, you cannot eat them. Okay, and the second principle that you should remember, very important one, is that sometimes Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he forbade us to kill some animals, completely opposite. He said do not kill them at all. So if you cannot kill something, how are you going to eat them? Is it not? So if there are, who remembers last time we mentioned 4 animals, 4 creatures, you are forbidden to kill them. Yes, brother.
I know 2 right off the bat. Frogs and ants.
Frogs and ants.
And bees.
Bees. Okay, very good. Yeah. What else? Poo-poos and Shrike, yeah. The frog is in a separate hadith, but this particular hadith, you mentioned bees and ants are part of it. Yeah, and hoopoes and sparrowhawks, or shrikes.
Hoopoes and parrots, that falls under the birds, right? No.
Yeah, that hoopoo falls under the birds. And 2 mentioned in this hadith is the ants and bees. You are not supposed to kill them, unless the scholar said that if they are bothering you, if they come in your house, and if they are, obviously it's not going to be a good hygiene for you, and it's going to spread diseases. In that case, you don't have any control, you have to kill them. But you cannot go outside and start killing ants and bees just for fun. That is prohibited. You cannot kill them. It's a straightforward command. And there is so those that are commanded to be killed and those that are forbidden to be killed, obviously eating them is haram. Okay, and there are some other animals as well, and specifically mentioning about snakes. Right, snakes, is it halal or haram? Scholars mentioned about snakes that it is not permitted to eat snakes because they said snakes are they are like the riding beast of shaitan. Riding beast of shaitan. So you cannot eat them, and the person who eats it has obeyed shaitan, whoever eats snakes. And they said there is inherently devilish something about snakes, so it's connected to shaitan basically, so that's why you have to stay away from it. Yes, sir.
Especially in the desert area, the jinns also take the form of
Snakes, that's right, yeah. And that's why before killing the snake, you have to warn it how many times? Three times before, because that might be a good jinn even sometimes, so you have to warn him and say, move, go away, otherwise I'll kill you. Warn it 3 times, and then if it's a good jinn, it will go away. If it's a shaitan, it won't, so then you can kill it. So we'll talk about animals, dealing with animals. Maybe it's a halaqah of its own, how to behave and deal with animals. Some people end up in hellfire just because mistreating an animal. It's a topic in and of itself. So many hadith related to it. But right now we're just concerned about eating them. Okay. So those 3 are the categories. The 4th one obviously is the actual vermins itself. And the opinion that is very famous is that it is haram to eat them. And some scholars said it is makruh, disliked. But they quote the verse of Surah Al-A'raf that he prohibits you from khaba'ith, disgusting or very evil and unlawful foods. So that leads us to this very important topic, Mustakhbath animals. Okay, that's what I want to spend time on. These are the animals. These are not just insects. So Mustakhbath animals, it comes from khabith or khaba'ith. It basically means disgusting, something which is not, can say filthy, which is filthy. So you are not supposed to eat them. So for example, they say monkey, right? Monkey, it's very disgusting animal. You think about eating a monkey, it doesn't really come easy on us, right? We will just want to stay away from it. Similarly, like bats and land snails. So these things we are not used to eating. So these are khaba'ith, and we are supposed to not eat it, and they are haram for us. We are going to talk about exceptions in few seconds, but that's the basic ruling. Okay. And I mentioned last time also about mustakhbath animal, why Imam Abu Hanifa considered shrimp as mustakhbath, right? I gave you the example. He basically used that ruling that since it's a mustakhbath animal, you cannot eat it. It is makruh according to him. But why he said it was makruh? Because like just how like a grasshopper or small insect is, that's how shrimp is in the sea. But scholars said that we have a hadith that says that everything that's in the sea is halal, right? So that's why the scholars permitted eating shrimp. That's perfectly halal. But according to the culture, sometimes it becomes makruh. For Imam Abu Hanifa, he was not used to eating such kind of animals in his part of the country, so that's why he said it is makruh. And we're going to talk more about this inshallah as well. And but let's talk about some exceptions here. Okay, some exceptions. You have a question? All right. Okay, the question is, are we allowed to kill spiders? What about the poisonous ones? So the basic ruling is that some people believe that there's this story that they just quote that the spiders saved Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam when they were traveling during Hijrah, and so those are not authentically reported. So that's why some people really fall into love with spiders and they never kill spiders. Okay, but authentically speaking, there is no such relationship. We only hear about that this web did get formed, and it was a command of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, but there is no harm in killing spiders, especially if they are found in home. you know that for hygienic reasons you have to clean them up. Okay, so that is why it is perfectly fine to kill spiders regardless if it is poisonous or not. But always remember, we're going to talk about hunting later on. You cannot kill any animal whatsoever just for fun. It is not allowed. The only time you can kill something is when you want to make use of it, want to eat it. Okay?
But Najib, by the way, the hadith of the spider and the pigeons on the ghar,
Yes.
that's a very weak hadith.
That's a very weak hadith.
Very
That's why
weak
in Sirah it is not even mentioned. If you look into Mubarak Puri and Rahiqul Makhtum, they removed all these ahadith because they only kept authentic ahadith. So these stories sounds good, but we only take what is sahih or what is hasan.
Is it in the Sirah, in this books of Sirah, it's not mentioned?
It's not mentioned, but yeah, back home we always hear from many places, but that's what I'm saying, that some people made it a fabricated one, but Allahu Alam, it's not really there at all in the Sirah books, as the brother said. So let's completely forget about spiders. So nobody's going to eat spiders either ways. Why? Because why?
About killing.
Well,
They were talking about killing.
yeah, killing. Yeah, they're talking about killing. Correct. But even then, if it were allowed, or for example, can you eat spider in that sense? Can you eat spider?
No.
What the reason? What's the ruling? What's the reason? What principle are you going to use? It's a vermin. It's disgusting. Khaba'ith. Just what we said here. And he prohibits them unlawful, that is whichever is khaba'ith, al-khaba'ith. So the exceptions that we are going to talk is these two exceptions here. This is locust, the animal that you see here. It comes in various shapes and forms. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he specifically said that two types of dead meat is allowed. One of them is locust and the other one is what? Fish. So you can not only eat locust, but even if they are dead, you can eat it. Okay, so maita, generally that category, that principle, it doesn't apply to locusts. That's the hadith. And that time of Saudi Arabia, that time they used to eat locust. And we have hadith from Sahih al-Bukhari as well. In that, one of the Sahabi mentioned that they went with Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam in 7 battles, and all of these 7 battles during which they used to eat locusts. And it's a full consensus, ijma of scholars, that it is allowed to eat locusts because we have a very strong hadith permitting it. Okay, and these are actually very huge. If in an Arab lands, it is a little bit huge, not a very small size like grasshopper. It's much more than that. And you don't need to slaughter them, obviously, because you can eat the dead ones as well. And interestingly, Jews also allow this locust, obviously coming from the same source.
It's in Arabian land, it's a delicacy.
Delicacy, I don't know about delicacy. This one is a delicacy. but in generally, these locusts, they breed very rapidly. They multiply very fast. And one thing about them is that they travel very fast, and they are known for destroying crops. Within like this whole army of locusts come and destroys every crop.
To vegetables or fruits.
Yeah, they eat everything.
They would finish the whole field in a day.
Musa alayhi salam's time.
Yeah, locusts. Yeah, Musa alayhi salam story.
I saw that in Egypt myself.
They damage crops very, very
The
badly.
field would be miles and miles, and they would be gone in a day.
One interesting thing about locusts is that they are called cannibals as well. They eat their own kind. They eat, because if you don't move fast, if you're a locust, don't move fast, the other locusts will eat you. There's a strange communication between them. Allahu alam. So another exception is dab. This is called a desert lizard. Okay, and is this allowed or is this not allowed? Okay, and this is a hadith that I want to talk to you about, and this hadith is about Khalid ibn Walid, who was narrating it in Sahih al-Bukhari. So what happened was that he went to the house of Maimuna radiallahu anha was the wife of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Khalid ibn Walid was also with him, was a famous Sahabi, as you know. And
Maimuna is the aunt of Khalid bin Walid.
yes, and also Ibn Abbas as well. So they are related as well. So what happened in this time was that when he went there, Maimuna radiallahu anha, she prepared a meal for them, and it was dab. Her sister got a desert lizard from Najd, from that area, and she brought and presented to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And he didn't know what it was, so he started to eat the dab, and he didn't know that it was dab. And when he reached there, there was one woman sitting in that place, and she said that you should inform Rasulullah what this food is. So they said that, Ya Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, this is dab. So when he was almost there to reach it, he moved his hands back and he did not eat. So Khalid ibn Walid radiallahu anhu, he was watching, and he asked the question, Ya Rasulullah, is this haram to eat? Is this prohibited to eat? So Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he gave a beautiful answer. He said, he didn't say, ew, that's disgusting, I don't like this food, take it away from me. He gave a very nice answer, an answer which only prophets, the character of prophets, only they can give this. He said, no, it is not haram, but it is not found in the land of my people, so I do not find any desire to eat it. I do not find myself having no need for it. That's what he said. So what Khalid ibn Walid radiallahu anhu did is that he took the dab, moved the plate towards him, and he started eating it, and Rasulullah was just watching him, and he ate everything because it was halal. So scholars wrote a lot about that hadith. So why did Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam did not eat dab? Because he found it disgusting. In his area, in his culture, it is it might be disgusting, but in other Arab areas it is a delicacy. As the brother said, they eat with real passion this particular animal. Even today it's a delicacy, they enjoy eating it. Okay, so that's why Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam permitted Khalid ibn Walid to eat this dab, because for his culture, for Khalid ibn Walid's culture, it is not disgusting. So now scholars, what they are saying is that how do you know which is disgusting and which is not? Okay, for example, snails, right? Somebody asked last time, is eating snails allowed? Is eating snails allowed? We find it disgusting, is it not? If I bring a box of snails to you, brother, can you cook this for us? Can you eat it with us? So nobody would like to eat it. Why? Because it is disgusting. But if you go to France today, it is a delicacy there. People eat snails like it's normal food. Just like for us, like eating shrimps is normal, right? But if you were in Persia 700 years ago or something, it was considered very disgusting. Shrimp is like a grasshopper. How do you eat shrimp? Yeah, many animals, I think even the Shias, I don't know about 100%, many people don't eat it. So the bottom line here is that the scholars gave a general rule. They said, how do you determine something is disgusting and something is not? They said that, look in your culture. If people are fine eating it, then it is halal. But if people will say, ew, it's very bad, it's disgusting, then it is not permitted. It is either makruh or it can become haram. So you have to stay away from it. And most of us, who are from Indian subcontinent, how much we love lamb and goat. They almost eat everything of lamb. They don't leave anything. So if eyes and tongues, the brain, we eat everything. And even the male reproductive organs, that's some brother was asking, that is very common as well. So if you bring those foods and give it to, for example, a born and raised American, serve him the tongue of a goat or lamb, he will just run away from your house. An eye. So that's not common in their culture. Okay, but people who are used to that culture, I invite you, we call it nihari in Pakistan and India. So it's a delicacy, right? So we put all this meat, the the eyes and legs of the, and we cook it, and it's really delicious. So for us, it is not disgusting. Okay, so sometimes a food can become disgusting in certain culture, but the same food can become halal the similar way how the dab was halal for Khalid ibn Walid radiyallahu anhu. Okay. So snakes, for example, again, it is haram, right? Because we mentioned that why scholars say. But in China, for example, if we just consider snake was halal for just a second, for us even still eating snakes is kind of disgusting, right? We don't like to eat snakes. But if somebody is born and raised in China, for that person it is halal. For us it is haram because it's disgusting. But for Chinese, so culture can sometimes define what is halal and haram, and this is one particular case. Yes.
Chinese people eat everything.
Yes. They, yeah. For them the category of Mustakhbath is very small because nothing is disgusting for them. Okay, one question, a very weird question. I just want to ask. It's very weird. Don't take it seriously, but can we eat human beings? Okay. Give me a principle why it is haram. Is it halal or haram, first of all? Haram. But tell me a principle why it is haram to eat humans, cannibals. That's all. We eat.
أيحب أحدكم أن يأكل لحم أخيه ميتا فكرهتموه.
So, okay. So there is no particular hadith. There is no particular verse from Holy Quran. There is no particular hadith from the Sunnah wherein we specifically see any verse or hadith which says you cannot eat human beings. There is no such verse or hadith, but we always have to go with the principles that we defined till now. Okay? And the principle that applies in case of human beings is that you have been prohibited from killing human beings, right? From Quran, I will read you a verse. We have been prohibited to kill human beings. So that is the general principle that I gave earlier on. Anything that you are prohibited from killing, you cannot eat. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentioned this. أَنَّهُ مَنْ قَتَلَ نَفْسَ. Right? If anyone killed a person, what did he say? فَكَأَنَّمَا قَتَلَ النَّاسَ جَمِيعًا. Okay? It would be as if he killed all mankind. From that a man or woman, thousands of children would come later on, right? So you killed the whole mankind because of just cutting him off. And وَمَنْ أَحْيَاهَا فَكَأَنَّمَا أَحْيَا النَّاسَ جَمِيعًا. And he said, if anyone saved a life, it would be as if he saved the life of all mankind. So that's the general principle that we follow. We have been prohibited from killing human beings. So we cannot become cannibals. We cannot eat them. So again, one thing, if you go to your friend's house and if you see something very disgusting that they are eating, maybe eyes of chicken, for example, which you are really not used to, just be like how Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam was. Just tell them, in our culture, in our place, we do not eat this, so I do not find any need of eating it. So you have to be very polite, because when you make faces in front of people, they will be offended. So very careful. That's why I said Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam was very particular how he replied. If he had showed faces, Khalid ibn Walid radiyallahu anhu wouldn't have even touched it. Okay, so that's the etiquettes that you have to learn.